Hello everyone, welcome to our flipped classroom, and today's lesson is on strings and console output in Python. I hope you had a great day today, and let me commend you for the effort that you put into separating time to watch these videos. This way you are ready tomorrow and you have questions, and I can help you with your work. So we can do much more this way. So let's begin. What is a string? Well, a string is just a set of characters, either letters, numbers, or symbols, that are put together within quotes and represent or are the value of a variable. So in here we have three variables. We have the variable name, which this value, Ryan. We have the variable age with this value, 19. And we have the variable food with this value, cheese. Notice that the first two examples are using double quote. The last one is using a single quote, which also works. Python recognizes these three variables as a string. Even 19, it's a number, but since it's expressed within quotes, Python recognizes this variable as a string. So age is not a numeric value; it's a string. You would not be able to do a math operation with age. Working with the single quotation sometimes can give you problems. Let's see about that. Here's the problem. There's a snake in my boot. Well, the problem is not that there's actually a snake in my boot. The problem is that I'm using single quotation in this sentence that I want it to be a string, but I also have a single quotation mark in the middle of the sentence, and that breaks the string. How can we solve that? We can use a backslash, this symbol, the backslash. So we put it right before the single quote that we have in the middle of the sentence, and that fixes it. Now, Python would recognize the entire sentence as a string. Each character in a string is assigned a number, and this number is called the index. So in this example, I have two variables, variable c, variable n. So if I want c to be the actual c, I have to give it the value of 0. Why? Because here you have 4 characters, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. But for indexes, just like in arrays, Python starts counting from 0. So C is actually index 0. In the next example, N is again at the end, 4 characters, but since we begin counting from 0, it would be in the third position. We also find methods that are very useful here in Python for strings. Let's analyze 4 basic string methods. First, length, lower, upper, and string. The first two, upper and lower, use this dot notation. These are methods that only work with a string. So if you have a variable like lion with this value, you can turn this value to this string to uppercase like this, lion.uppercase. Or you can turn it back into lowercase like this, lion.lowercase. len and str, sorry, length and string work with other data types. But what do they do? Where length gives us the number of the characters in the string. So if I have the length, the variable name, and I don't know how many characters I have here, I can use it like this. Or I can use directly the value of the string. The string method turns non-strings into strings like this. So if I have a number, I can turn it into a string. It will still be represented with the same character too, but it will not have a numeric value. String concatenation. Well, as we have discussed this before, concatenation is nothing else than putting together. It's combining strings and arithmetic operation. So if we want to output life of Brian, we could do something like this. Life plus of plus Brian. And this will be the output for that phrase. Notice that the operator will add all the strings together, one and after another, but there are spaces inside the quotation mark. Okay? So it adds the space between each word. String conversion. Well, sometimes you need to combine a string with something that is not a string. In order to do that, what you have to do is to convert it into a string. And for that, you can use the method string. For instance, print, I have 2 coconuts. Will give us this console output. String formatting. When you want to print a variable with a string, there's a better way than using the operator at, which is using or putting together variables with strings. So if I have the variable name with this value, I can print hello Mike using the variable. But for this, we use the operator mod after the string. And this operator will replace the mod s that is inside the string. So it's like it's telling the computer from here, add the string, and it comes here, it adds what's inside the parentheses. So what have we seen in this lesson today? We have seen that strings need to be expressed within quotes. Number 2, characters in a string are assigned a number called index. That's also important to remember. Number 3, use string methods correctly. We saw the correct way in which we need to use upper, lower, length, and string. And number 4, make use of the different ways to format your string. Okay, this is the end of this flipped lesson. Remember, you can go back in the video, rewind, fast forward, handle the video as you wish in order to remember and listen again to the explanations given in this lesson. What is the assessment? Well, the assessment is going to be posted in Replit. Let me show it to you. in a Replit classroom, we have this string and input assignment. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to print in the screen the following questions. What's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? Where do you live? What's your favorite hobby? For this, you need to use the input function. That's why I use this word in the instruction. And save the answers in variables. You can use these variables, the names, or you can use other names. But at the end, you need to print the following text. Hello, my name is, using the name given, age, I am age, years old. I am from country. I live in city, and I like the hobby. Okay. So the idea is that you are able to ask the user these 5 questions. The user can answer the questions, and at the end, it gives like a little summary of the questionnaire. Okay. So if you're done with the lesson, you can get to work with the assignment, and I see you tomorrow. If you have any questions, there will be another assignment tomorrow based on what you have here. Now, if you want to stick around a little bit, I'm going to give some practice on what we saw today. So in here, I've created already a few variables, and I'm going to be printing in the console the values for the variables, testing a little bit what we have seen today. So the first variable that I have is word, and word has the value of high. Notice a single quotation, right? Does it work? Let's see what happens when I print word. Yeah, it prints high. Let's print the next variable. The next variable is phrase, surrounded by double quotation, and is 2 words put together. Hello world. Next we have a number, but we said that numbers can be strings as well. Yep, that's right. And here's the problem I was telling you about. What happens when I use single quotation and I don't use the backslash? I get an error. That's why the backslash is important if you're using single quotations and there's another quotation in the middle. Okay, so that was the use of variables with strings. Now, let's see index. Yeah, the index here. So, what do you think is going to be the value of C? C? Let's see. It's A. Remember that indexes start at 0. So if I want C to be C, this needs to change. Now C is C. Okay, now let's go to the next variable, right? Let's use the variable before, word, for lower and upper to test the functions. And I'm going to store it in a new variable called word1, lowercase. Everything turns lowercase. Notice that in my original variable I had the H in uppercase, but it changed it. And now I'm going to put everything in uppercase, and that's it. How many characters are in the word length? Well, that's what I stored in word 3, and it gives us the number of characters, 2. And finally, string is going to turn this value into a number. Okay, but you may say, I can also do this, right? Yeah, you could, but this is a numeric value. Remember, this is not. Okay, I hope that this could help any student that had further questions on what was said on the presentation. And if not, if you still have questions, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night rest.